Hello and good morning. We are continuing our class on the importance of Hanukkah and the performance of God's mitzvahs because they are God's mitzvahs, because they are God's will and God's commandment. Before we begin, we'd like to show you the beautiful people assembled here this morning on Sunday, October 14th, the 9th day of Cheshvan. And here we go. Oh, what a smile, Fred. Now you can say you made it. Okay, we're on page 43 on the book, The Victory of Light, and we discussed previously the reasons for mitzvahs. Last week we went into a long discussion about this, so I'm not going to go through the whole business again, but we're smack in the middle of this whole idea. The idea was that if God says do something, we do it because God says to do it, even if it makes 100% sense in our eyes. Even if we're talking about basic moral, civil law that any society, believing in God or not, heaven forbid, would enact in order to have a normal country. Not normal countries either have dictators who you can't do a single thing and keep you like in a zoo. Human beings are kept like animals there. Or they have complete chaos and violence and sectarian trouble throughout. If there's no rules that are enforced, you just continue to have that, and there's nowhere to go. It's a helpless and hopeless situation. Each person does what they want. It's a terrible thing. So when God says, I want you to do this, that should be a good enough reason for us to do it, because if we want a relationship with an entity like like God, who is an energy that is that puts us here, makes things happen for us, and the challenges that are here are hard to sometimes come by or overcome, but when we do overcome them, we realize we've become stronger and better, and so on. It's the light that comes after the darkness that comes out of us, like the Talmud says regarding the olive, talking about Hanukkah, the olive oil, that the olive, the stronger you squeeze it, the more oil comes out, the more light comes out. But you got to squeeze. It's got to be a good squeeze. And last year at the Hanukkah party, we had this the oil making process, and we had to really squeeze down on the olives. Well, a squeeze is in order to produce oil, to produce light, or to produce something delicious, produce food. So when God says, when we have an entity like God who causes all types of things for us to happen, and at the end of the day we have a roof over our heads, and we have a family, we have health, we have friends, community, so it behooves us to get in touch with this entity, and the way to get in touch with this entity is very clear. It says how. It gives us a Torah, and in the Torah it says, do this and you'll be mine. Don't do this, you'll still be mine, but you won't have that relationship. I'll look after you, but you won't be connected. You won't have that in your life. You won't have that godliness that permeates through your life, and it's a shame that we don't have it, that people choose not to have it. He says, choose life. I give you a choice. There's no one forcing us. It's not willpower in this case. God says you have a choice, but the choice should be life rather than the opposite of life. Life, he means doing what I ask you to do, because that will give you the ultimate life. That is only one element of following God's commandments, because God wants us to do them. His desire is that we do them. But there's another thing that we are in the midst of discussing, and that is, even those commandments